Attention passengers, this is your Captain Necrosama speaking, and you tuned into a new episode of Top Flight Reads, our weekly YouTube series where we find graphic novels, comics, manga on the internet, read them aloud to you, give our feedback, all that fun stuff. This week on Top Flight Reads, we're checking out ShadowBorn by DeAndre Moffett, Elias Shaman, and Osner. Let's just jump right into it with our introductions. Take it away, co-pilot Teaser.
Fools in the seat. This is your co-captain telling you to get in your chairs because we're going to have a fun flight today. I wouldn't want you to miss all the goodies. When we are ready to take off, I will put the light on so you can buckle in and have a bucking good time. Flight attendants, tell them what we're serving today.
This will be a very serious storm rave. There will be no random comments sandwiched in between out-of-turn outbursts. We going into this as serious as possible.
Hello, passengers. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know how I feel about you all being on the plane today, so we'll see how it goes as we go along.
Well, that was Akashic. And hello and welcome to the flight. I'm your flight attendant, MEL, and the snack of today is dependent on what you get because it's a piñata for this party because there is lots of snacks and piñatas and we need those today. So write in the comments what you found. I hope you all have a wonderful flight. Let's get to it.
All right, fools that gave us money to take you on this flight. It is time to do the flight part of the flight. So buckle yourselves in. We're hitting that switch. We're about to take off into the sky because we're going to have fun.
Y'all got money?
They didn't give us money.
I was going to say, y'all got money for this?
That's the joke.
Teasa's holding out on us?
The killing joke.
Apparently, Tiza and I have switched roles, or maybe not.
All right, so passengers, your captain, yada yada, etc., etc. All right, I'm gonna go ahead with this summary. I'm gonna try this new thing where one person summarizes the entire chapter. Let's see how that goes. If you like it, leave a comment telling me what you think. All right, so boom. We open the chapter with a tower or a spire or something. Is it the same one from before in the Gloomberg shot in chapter 1? I don't know. Let's find out. What we do know is this same thing has shadow puppies around it, like from the last chapter, attacking people. And a familiar head of Locks rushes onto the scene. And what's this? He's using shadow powers. Controlling them, it's about to go down. And by it, I mean Ellie. And by go down, I mean get knocked unconscious and possibly betrayed by someone in the same uniform. Cool. So if it wasn't obvious, that was a flashback. Ellie wakes up with Leo sitting to the side, watching over his unconscious body. Like that's not creepy or something. Ellie starts the usual wake up and start asking questions thing, like, where's our other friend? Did you do anything to me while I was unconscious? What happened to the puppies? And last but not least, who the heck are you? Then the two boys start a game of, if you show me yours, I'll show you mine. Shadow Edition. Ellie starts making statements, assuming, adding the slightest pinch of hypocrisy to the game, claiming Leo is with the Shadow Hounds because he has shadow powers, while he himself swings a shadow arm. But it turns out Leo's just something called a Shadow Guardian that defends the shadows of the world from the shadows of the Shadow Realm. I don't know. Something puppies made of shadow attacking people. Gotta protect them. And then once things calm down, Leo removes his foot out of Ellie's butt and explains the situation. Yay. Exposition. Ellie reminds us that he's the main character by asking a question after every one of Leo's sentences. But Leo makes sure to play his. All your questions will be answered if you just shut up and let me info dump card. Insert expository flashback here. So apparently the world has a series of towers that are used to protect the world from devastation. Shadows. Shadow Guardians guard those towers. The tower Leo guards received it from one of the other towers. So they shadow run over there to see what's on the up and up. And what's on the up and up is death. Multiple casualties. One confirmed survivor, ShadowBorn, and one missing. Is that missing person the one from earlier in the chapter that knocked out, Sir Shadow over here? I don't know. Probably. Here's the thing you probably expected after reading chapter 1. Old Shadow-kun has amnesia, and Leo has been watching over him like a shadow until he gets his powers back. But here's the catch. Dude's been putting him in all these situations, trying to force one of those main character, I suddenly activated my powers moment. Who Leo think he is? Piccolo or something? So Shadow-kun's not cool with it. He pulls a storm rave, asking people whether or not they think it's a game or something. Coming to his neck, talking about you got all these fancy shadow powers, but you let your loud friend die. But then, of course, Leo checks him. It's like he was either an idiot or a fool because he can't follow directions. Acting like he had plot armor or something running off. Think I was going to blow my cover for a side character that can't listen. Stop it. Get some help. That's not what this is. But none of that matters. You're the main character, and we need you to get ready for what's to come. And Shadow-kun's like, nah, I'm good. I can't control my powers, and whoever knocked me out was too strong. He killed the whole squad. I'm not about that life. Then the chapter ends with Shadow-kun looking all dumbfounded after Leo calls him out for having the tools to make a difference, but sitting on the sideline. Game recognized game, and you looking kind of unfamiliar right now. Go ahead and turn that keyblade in, young fella.
You feel that rumbling, buckled in passengers? We've hit the part of the flight where we're at that elevation where you're free to roam about the cabin so you can start having fun like the rest of us. We're turning off that light. Go ahead. Scramble for that candy as that pinata got broken with the turbulence on the rise up. It's time to hear our thoughts as you fill your faces with sugar because we're going to have fun today.
All right, so I hope you enjoyed that summary. Now we're going to jump over to our sections. We're going to talk about characters, and then we're going to talk about story, and we'll see what happens after that. Let's, of course, start off with main character, Shadow the Hedgehog.
Is it really anything to add since they're the same two characters from last chapter?
I mean, he actually talked a lot more this chapter.
I have something to add for Leo. For the main character, he's pretty much the same to me.
I mean, for me, it's like, okay, he did a lot of jumping to conclusions this chapter.
He did.
Like,
but he did that the first chapter too.
In the first chapter, he didn't really talk that much. Nowhere near as much as this chapter.
He was just like, yo, frick y'all, I'm just trying to do what I do. And I'm not hanging with y'all, but I'm hanging with y'all. So.
Like, for me, he seemed like, not exactly two different characters, but like two different characters. In the first chapter, it seemed like he didn't talk much. He was just, yo, I need to get this money so I can get off the streets. So that's what I'm going to do. But he didn't really have much to say. But in this chapter, he like going around accusing Leo of stuff. Talking about, yo, you let our friend die. Was this just a game to you? What's happening? It was a lot.
You think this is a game?
Like, he had a lot. See, you see, passengers? Exactly what I said. Exactly what I said to someone.
Serious Storm
Exactly
What happened to Serious Storm Rave?
You know that was gonna last
Between
long.
the intro and the summary.
He
To get
gone.
this to happen.
You thought I was joking? You thought I was joking, passengers.
He gone.
But if he had more dialogue in this chapter. I feel like he talked a lot more.
Which I get, but also at the same time, it also was kind of like a roll my eyes moment when he was like, "Was his death just mean nothing to you?" And it's like, my guy, the first chapter, it looked like you ain't care about him either until he got popped. So I don't want to hear it now.
You know, he did turn into Shonen the protagonist this chapter, now that I think about it.
Oh,
Never.
you know how else he did? But go
You
to the store.
hurt you the reason why my friend died, and blabbity blabbity blah. And what happened to F is for friendship?
F is for get fricked. What you mean?
Oh no.
That's Tito said it, not me.
Oh, I said what I said.
Hmm.
You know how else there was a stark contrast between Eli in chapter 1 and this chapter 2?
Oh
Hmm.
boy.
You remember that whole bit where he was trying to figure out what more there was to his life besides just being some little rat on the streets?
Mm-hmm.
And he was given a very significant job that he forgot he had. And the first thing he decides to do with this information is walk away from it.
Exactly.
Walk away from it completely.
That was weird.
Yeah.
Like, I could understand if he was overwhelmed, because sometimes when you're overwhelmed, you need to, like, take a step back and think. But it wasn't like I need to take a step back and think.
And what made it worse is the reason that he decided to just walk away. Because someone that could have maybe saved Mikal did not.
That wasn't the only reason.
No. That was pretty much the only reason. Because he doesn't want to associate himself with a group that has a person like Leo in it that would just let someone die because it's too early to show my shadow powers.
Right.
No, Eli doesn't want to be associated with that. I can't trust those freaks over there. I'm just going to distance myself and keep being a street rat. You know?
I mean, also he's like,
Like he did in chapter 1 though, because he already said I don't want to hang out with y'all, but I'm with y'all.
No. See. That's the thing though. That's before he figured out what Leo actually does.
Yeah.
also he's like, but I'm weak, and that person took out the entire tower.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm gonna do?
Get better.
Yeah, that I would accept it. Like, yo, I need to go train. I can't just go out there and get killed. But he's like, nah, I ain't with it. I ain't with
that. You got to find somebody else. I ain't the one.
I ain't got no control over this. People might die.
Or more realistically, they might kill me.
Couldn't stop them before, and you neither could. I couldn't stop them before. No comma. Neither could any of the others that died that day.
Ultimate plot twist. Main character Kun was the one who killed them all.
Well, yeah, they showed us that in chapter 1.
No.
I'm not saying that he did. It was a joke.
I'm pretty sure he did. Just
He
doesn't
might
realize
as
it.
well have. He might as well have.
No, they showed us. Think about it.
All
And
right.
a little bit at the beginning of this one too.
I don't like to take things out of context.
I'm
Okay.
telling you the context.
Let's move on to Leo.
I was cool with Leo because my man was not phased for like the first couple, like when he was first talking to him, and then he got punched, and then he just kept talking.
Yo, like, you gonna let me info dump?
Like,
You know what?
Look, I'm
He is
saying what I
basically-
said. I said what I said. Just give me a minute and let me talk.
My man is basically driving the plot at this point.
Look, Leo is a Akashic. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, first of all,
Like, look, he was dumb.
He gotta
I
be.
gave him directions. He ain't listened to him. What am I supposed to do? what am I supposed to do? Are you gonna punch me?
and
Just
then he
because you
was
punch
like,
me does
"You
not
could-"
make me less right.
he was like, "You could have saved them." He was like, "You can blame me as much as you want, but sooner or later you gonna realize it ain't my fault. So whatever you do, you do. Like I'm good either
Hey.
way."
You can't fix dumb, and I'm not about to try.
I think he tried though.
Yeah, Leo is me.
He's like, Michael, he's like, don't run off. Michael runs off,
Oh,
gets
I
killed.
think
well,
the reason why it's supposed to be so upsetting for the main characters because these three have been a group for a long time, and it's like that's our friend, a person that like has trusted us and relied on us, and like you should at least be a little sad. And I think it's because he's not sad that
see.
the main character is having such a problem with it, because he's like, this was partially like your fault, and he's like, dude, he was heckin' dumb, not my problem. Like, and it's like that's our friend.
That's the thing. It's
But
not.
he's
It's not
dumb.
Leo's fault
It
in
ain't
the
Leo's fault.
slightest. He told him not to run, and the man just ran off. Like,
Which
Also-
also was weird. But to be fair, though, dude, Leo said that he was bringing them into situations that weren't very good just so the shadow powers were awakening. So
Oh,
why
yes.
bring Mikhail in the first place?
Leo may be the best written character in the series.
Well, yeah.
We're on chapter 2.
Oh, I say so
Chapter
far
one-
he
I'm
is.
Comparing
But I will.
comparing chapters 1 and 2 because that was a very, very, very nice callback.
So
But
yeah,
we'll
that's
get into
in
that.
chapter 1 to 2. But like you can't say the whole series.
Well, between
So
chapters 1
far.
and 2, he's been well written.
So far it works, but either way,
Consistent.
continue.
Eli was making a lot of assumptions. Because I don't think Leo, in the history that we didn't see in the manga, ever actually said that Mikal was his friend. I'm betting that's what really happened. Leo clearly didn't give a frick about him. He might have just been putting on the facade, but he may not have actually had the attachment that Eli assumes he had.
I can see that. Yeah.
It's weird what's weird about it is that for Eli, he didn't seem like he cared about a single one of them.
It's just
And now
personality.
all of a sudden he's just yes, exactly. That's exactly what that felt like, and it makes me scratch my head.
I mean, he didn't look. Okay, I'm not going back to Elliot, but Leo's like, this is our situation. We're trying to get off the streets, but not really, because I don't live on the streets. Y'all do.
Oh,
I'm just trying to get y'all. I'm just trying to get you to unlock this power, bro. So we can go back. So we can go back to running our business.
I
Okay.
will say one thing though. If Leo's like previous partners would have run off and died like before this, that technically would partially be his fault because they were like a group and a squad, and so you'd think he'd be a bit more used to doing missions.
You know what else he's used to?
No.
People listening when he gives explicit instructions.
I mean, you'd think that's not always true though. You don't get to choose the people that have shadow powers apparently, because look at the main character.
Well, we don't know the history of the shadow power.
Also true, but it
How do we
doesn't
know the
like.
main character is a potato? He admits as much.
Main
Leo's
character
old
lost his
squad
memories.
weren't stupid. Leo's old squad were at least competent enough to not go rushing into danger when someone tells you exactly the opposite of that.
And they still got bodied. What
No, they didn't.
And I know that was Eli,
Elliot.
the rest of his squad or something, I guess.
Yeah, his whole squad got.
Speaking of which, I got a point to bring up about that, but we'll get to that in the story.
Well, Leo's just really piccolo to me. Like, yo, I'm just gonna take this young Eli, throw him in front of a T-Rex, and tell him, yo, I'm gonna get stronger.
Oh no.
Don't dodge.
Oh no.
But look, it's in your blood. You gonna learn it, or you gonna die. That's up to you.
No, every time you don't dodge, somebody gonna die. There you go.
Oh, jeez.
All right. Anyone have anything else to say about Leo?
I would have given him a lot more points if at the moment he was like, you had the power to protect him and you didn't. And if he just looked at him and was like, well, technically, so did you.
That would have been
Hilarious.
such an interesting point in the chapter, because that's the thing. He'd be like, we wouldn't have had to even go on this mission if it wasn't for you.
Okay. Last character talk about.
Shadow dogs?
No. The actual traitor that we know nothing about.
Oh. What is there to say? They're a hood. They're zealous.
Oh no.
All right, cool. That was characters. Let's move on to our next section. All right, that was characters. Let's move on to our next section. Story. Who wants to start? I know everyone has words.
Oh, I don't have much, so.
right.
I might have to mute soon, just so you know, because apparently my mom ordered pizza, so the dogs are gonna bark. So if I drop out, it's just me muting. Don't worry about it.
Oh, I guess it's Mel's turn.
Apparently, well, I didn't order the pizza. It was
Oh,
my
fair
mom,
enough.
so not my fault.
I know,
Oh,
but you're in the house where it was ordered, so you did by
how about
proxy.
Just in case, Emil, you start the conversation.
No, it'll be here in like a few minutes. I'd have to stop, so I'm just letting you know.
Oh yes.
Oh.
It's perfect.
My mom texted me. She's like, "Are you done recording?" And I was like, "No." And she's like, "Well, your dad's gonna be home, and also pizza's gonna be here, so it's gonna be loud. So just mute
Alright.
now." So I gotta mute now.
All right. Whoever wants to start, go ahead. Start.
Oh, I did.
Start.
Aw.
The story kind of fell apart for me, unfortunately. Other than the literal info dump, which seems to imply where the story is heading, nothing really happened with this chapter. And the bits that were felt, I don't know, underwhelming, rushed, or out of place.
Give me an
And the-
example.
Hmm?
Give me an example.
Yeah.
Like, the chapter begins with a flashback, presumably relating to Eli's dream. The tower has similar inscriptions as the tower in chapter 1, but that's beside the point. It wasn't. Oh, okay. That's pause. Basically, it leads into the chapter. It leads you to think that there's going to be some sort of cryptic reveal that's going to give some actual information as to what was going on in Eli's memories or whatever. But it just showed him getting knocked out, and I guess that, in and of itself, could be some sort of a clue or something, a hint. Also, I felt like if you take the flashback out of the chapter, nothing will change.
I mean,
But that's just me.
I mean,
If I'm wrong, please correct.
I don't agree that the flashback should have been in this chapter at all. But they did show something with the flashback. The flashback wasn't useless. It did give us information.
The guys in the coats.
It was like, okay, Leo and Eli worked for some type of organization that protected these towers. And the reason he doesn't have any memories is because he got knocked out by some traitor. That answered the question that was presented in the first chapter. For me, I think it was too early for them to answer that question. But there was a reason the flashback was there.
I do agree that I don't think I would have revealed it this early.
What do you think?
I was fine with the flashback being where it was. What I do not like, because I will say I enjoy chapters like this where it's not really about the combat. It is a chapter that kind of gives us a moment to settle down from what we just witnessed last chapter, because last chapter was a bunch of killing and a bunch of fighting, where this one had a little bit of fighting, but it also had a lot of information to give us not only a chance to calm down and to regroup, but also to give us some information along with it, which I was fine with. To answer your question, if I didn't make it clear already, I was fine with the flashback where it was. What I do not have an issue, where I do have a huge issue, is the way that it ended, where it just ended off with this guy yelling at him. I think he said something like, you had the ability to help him at the tower and you couldn't, so you backing out now is just gonna make more people die on your hands, or something like that. And, I get, they're angry. He's trying to get him to actually use his powers now to help them out. It's just, that's not the place in a conversation where you end a chapter. Because,
I was about to ask, do you think it could have been executed better, perhaps?
yeah, it could have been executed if the dialogue at the end was like the ending part of a conversation, or like the part that we're given new information that we didn't already know that will make us want to continue reading. Because right now where it ended is just in the middle of the conversation where he's pretty much just calling him a coward, which is like, okay, yay, he's a coward. Like, if we're gonna guess, like, okay, if he doesn't like it, probably next chapter he's gonna turn around and try to hit him again. Maybe, who knows? But just like ending the dialogue of a chapter, just like in the middle of just a normal type of conversation like that, irritates my soul, because it doesn't give me anything to be like, well, what's gonna happen next? Because now it's just like, okay, he called him a coward
Again.
Yeah, yay. Like, for me personally, I don't know if this is the right way to do it, but just how I would have done it, where it would have been like we would have been slowly getting this information out of him, like, instead of just him just sitting down and explaining it. Like, they'll be having a little bit of a brawl where he's trying to explain things, and then it ends.
Yeah.
What? And then it
make
ends.
it.
What?
I was going to say, just make it more entertaining to watch as he's info dump.
A little bit that too, and then I would have hid this guy's powers until the final page, and then that's when he would have told him that he was a shadow hunter, because it's like, okay, we got this information that okay, maybe he's got something to do with what happened last chapter, and then we have this chapter of him slowly giving out information, and then at the end, boom, we have these shadow powers. Now he has shadow powers too. Why the heck does he have shadow powers? Now I want to go into the next chapter where this one it was revealed in like 3 pages. So
As far as the ending, I kind of have to agree. This was an awkward stopping point. Not for the reasons Akashic just gave, but definitely came across as awkward for me because they were going through the trouble of building up all of this tension. Eli discovers that his friend may be a traitor. Oh, it turns out he's not a traitor. He's just a part of a secret society. But you let my friend die! But it was too early for me to tell this information to you. Now it's not too early. I still don't like you. Yeah, well, if you don't, that means you're a coward. And that's where it stops. And I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, why would you stop here? If you're trying to have Leo make Eli second guess his decision to just not help any of the Shadow Guardians, that's fine. But you're going to stop mid yelling? You're not going to at least show a little bit of struggle, like internal struggle for Eli, where he may be trying to, I don't know, double back on what he just got done being so resolute about? You're not going to have a little bit of something, a little bit of a, possibility that he might walk it back to end doing? So we thinking to ourselves, will he actually go back on what he just got done being so resolved about? Will he actually come back and help the Shadow Guard instead of this straight up walking off thing that he just got done doing? Something to ponder about going forward? Just this?
Like the way I think I would have wrote it is after he woke up and he got all mad, like, who are you? And activated his shadow powers and attacked Leo. Instead of Leo activating his shadow powers, he would have just beat the crap out of Eli or Ellie without shadow powers and then had this whole conversation. And then, like Akashic said, revealed at the end, like, yo, I'm here protecting you. And yeah, I also have shadow powers. Like, now let's get you back to where our headquarters are or something.
mm-hmm.
The reveal was definitely too early.
Yeah, there was no real payoff to doing it at this point. We just got the mystery, not even the full mystery, just a part of the mystery at the end of chapter 1. And then we just deflate all of it, including the rest of the mystery we didn't have.
Like, we know more or less why he's on the streets. Okay, we know he's lost his memories, and now we know why he lost his memories. Like, what's the point of continuing? What questions are there other than who's the person that betrayed him? The bigger questions, more intriguing questions were already answered.
Yep. Some questions were introduced in this chapter and I answered it. Like the tower thing. Yeah. There's still one other thing. Because surprisingly, the rest of you kind of touched on a couple other things I had highlighted in my long list of bullets here. But let's just revisit a little bit midway in this chapter, around the point where Leo was explaining exactly what the crap happened in Eli's past. So you know how there was a squad of shadow guards for each of the 12 towers?
Mm-hmm.
And how, based on the flashback where there were rows of people laid out in front of Eli's where they got bodied, which more or less tells us each tower has legitimate sized squads for each one. And they know that tower number 8, which was Eli's tower, was apparently getting raided. So as assistants, we're going to send 3. They know that each tower has a good sized squad. They having trouble. We're going to send 3. So that either tells us that these 3 are either so far and above the normal squads they have, at least for Tower 8, that they can apparently make that much of a difference, or someone didn't train the mooks at number 8 to be competent enough as those 3 so that they can actually be relevant at protecting the one thing they're supposed to be guarding.
Or
I kind of have to wonder,
or
why?
They're too dumb to send more people.
Maybe, however, considering Leo's shown a decent amount of intelligence, I'm going to have to guess that the whole number 8 is just less than these 3. So, really, what Why is there such an imbalance of trading? Or maybe you're actually right, and whoever was at Leo's tower only told those 3. I'm not really sure why. If you know something's being raided, why would you only send 3? Like, I get you have to keep some at whatever tower Leo was at,
Right.
but if you're going to send anyone and you know this is struggling to defend itself, why would you either undertrain them or only send 3? I feel like as if they could have just, I don't know, maybe pulled 1 or 2 from each of the other towers. If you can spare 3 from
He's
one, I'm just
he's
saying. I feel
he's
like there's a gap in the planning here with how they redistribute people in the event of an attack that's too much for one whole squad of shadow guards to deal with.
Hmm.
I found that very, very distracting because I couldn't understand how a whole squad was comparable to just 3. Now, I would understand if there was only 3 at number 8, but the fact there was a whole 2-3 rows of people laid out at number 8 really makes me question why was it only 3? That just
It's 3.
I can't understand it.
This is probably not what they were going for, but it might be that they're ranked, like the tower number is ranked to like how good of a shadow guardian you are, so their tower might just be better overall, so only 3 people need to go. Like their tower could just be like a low tier tower and then just be like, oh,
I just want to add one thing to that.
No. Well, go ahead. Because I have a
Just one
counter.
thing. The only way this would have made I'm not sure this will help the story, but the way that it would have made sense was there is a certain video game that I'm not going to say the name of, and they were basically divided into squads to disarm a couple of towers. The first 2 towers were disarmed, and the guy who was tasked with disarming the 3rd one couldn't disarm. So you know what the powers that be did? They sent the best people from the squads that were disarming the other towers to go disarm the tower that had yet to be disarmed. Not waiting until everybody on the still armed tower to get bodied and then send people in. And even then, they didn't just send 3 people; they sent everybody.
Still, it was just an SOS. They're like, okay, our tower got an SOS, so we're gonna hurry up and send some people to go check it out. We can't go ask all the other towers for it. For help. Like, yo, it's an emergency. They need help. You gotta send people right now.
There is one other thing that might make sense to me. Maybe there are things going on at the other towers, and so the powers that be have to be frugal, if that's the right word. I don't know. They have to be smart about how they distribute their forces.
That's not how. No. That Eli's tower sent a message to Leo's tower directly and said, yo, SOS, we need help. They're like, bet, let's go send people there. They didn't. Maybe they sent the SOS to everybody, but what we know is Leo's tower got the SOS. We can't say that they did send to everybody else because we don't have the information. The information we do have is Leo's tower got an SOS. They sent people. Everybody was dead.
I mean, that'd be. But
No,
I'll take it for what it is. I'll take it for what it is.
No, it's on page 16. Leo's tower noticed that number 8 was getting raided.
So they never sent them an SOS.
Which means he knew this was happening and either A, didn't tell any of the other 10 towers remaining, or B, him and the 2 that came with him were apparently enough because everyone at number 8 is below these 3. Now, going back to Mel's point, because I got a counterpoint for that, if each tower's guardians are not all trained equally, and each of these is imperative to keeping the lurking shadows beneath the planet from overtaking it, you don't think that sounds a little bit questionable in terms of why that is?
Oh, I wasn't saying that's the best thing. I was just giving them an out.
That's not an out, because then that raises the...
Well, like, what if their shadow that they're keeping in is also at different levels? So, like, because we don't know much about the towers. At least not that I understood.
We don't need to. The fact is, if they have squads guarding all 12, you would want the guards of all 12 to be equally competent. Which is why I don't think it's a case of just 8 being below. I think this is just questionable redistribution. Like, yeah, Leo's tower was the one that noticed, but if you know they're being attacked, and you know, at the very least, you and the 2 you brought with you may or may not be enough because you know there's a whole squad at number 8 and they got murked. You wouldn't think to maybe, I don't know, call 1 or 2 others, maybe have them send 1 or 2 people each to help with this at all?
I mean, another counterpoint is also that out of the 3, because I don't think Leo's the leader, because I don't think the leader would be left behind to determine use and protect, like, take care of them. Like, because Eli, like, he was found there, yeah, but you wouldn't want one of your, like, strongest people to just stay back with them, like, necessarily, because you would want that guy in the tower if their job is so important. You would probably send somebody, like, the people to check are probably lower ranking members of the tower anyway, most likely, just because they're like scouts rather than actual help, at least in my brain.
They didn't say that. They're all guards.
Technically, but I meant more like scouting the SOS, but
Ain't nothing to scout. Leo knew there was none. Leo just noticed it was happening at his tower. He said so on page 16. It's right there.
he
little
said his
year-
tower.
Okay, I'll read it. A little over a year ago, my tower received a notice that the 8th tower had been attacked. Myself, along with 2 other guardians, were sent to aid the 8th tower.
Right.
So they received a notice that they
From
had been attacked from someone. They didn't say from who. And they sent those 3. So someone above Leo sent them.
Which means
Either way,
whoever knew what was going on, at least enough to know that they need help. So you pick 1 from Leo's at the very least.
yeah, they
Now-
said it was attacked. They didn't say that they got destroyed or everybody got killed. They said, "Yo, this tower got attacked. Let's send a couple people to see what's going on." They're not just gonna send a whole, like, they ain't gonna send like just half their tower.
I ain't saying half. I'm just
That's
saying
what
at least
status
1 from
reports
each.
are for.
Because there's already a squad at number 8 and they struggling.
Mm.
That's
Well,
not
they
a
didn't
light
say they
matter.
were struggling. They said that they were being attacked.
Dog,
In
if
that
they were
case, that's
being
just poor
attacked,
communication.
and there's already a squad there who's supposed to defend from attacking, and they also need assistance. Something's going on that requires assistance.
So Tizo,
What?
if what Nico's saying is true, wouldn't that just be poor communication then?
Dog, that's just strange planning to me.
Like, yo, we're having an SOS. Like, aren't you like whenever like in most military like organizations, you normally give a status report. Like if your post is being attacked, like you give a status report, like how bad it is, what the casualties are, what your chance of survival, how badly you need assistance, you know, that kind of thing.
That might not have been delegated to Leo, who apparently isn't a top dog, based on how this is sounding at least.
Which confuses me even more.
All we know is what Leo knows. Yo, this tower got attacked. I got sent to deal with it. We didn't get. It was me and 2 other people. That's all we know.
Who are apparently strong enough to be considered assistants on their own.
So I was really excited originally because I wanted to go to the tower, and they did do what I asked. We did go to the tower in chapter 2. However, it was not exactly laid out how I wanted it. We know that time has passed due to the fact that it was originally dark, and now it seems to be daytime. So that means that Leo's had this entire time to think about what he's going to say to Eli. And for how this starts, when you've had all this time just to sit here and make sure this, like, just plan to talk to this dude. It's like he didn't even think about that. He's just like, we're just gonna go. Michael's dead. Just get over it. And I know that it could go either way with the I really do hope that it's not like the towers are ranked. That was just it's always a possibility of random.
Not the towers, just the guards at them.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean.
I think
Well,
that's
like,
what she means.
yeah, but we know that Leo's stronger than Eli or Ellie because they show us. It showed us the hood person. Well, hood person that escapes. But I was so excited for this chapter, but I was sad that it was an info dump. Not because of like it being an info dump, but that having one so soon, like you guys were saying, is just kind of it's answering too many questions too fast in a series that we're barely invested in right now. So like when you start a series and you're on chapter 1 and you're like, oh, I could go on to chapter 2, and then chapter 2 pretty much answers all your questions, and some new questions that you should have and answers, it makes it to where you're just like, oh, well, now I have the information. What else is there to read? And I think that's a shame, just because it could have been so good. Like, I would appreciate it if it did have, like, not just straight into fighting again chapters. I thought it was going to probably go, like, finishing out. I didn't even think Leo was going to be himself. I thought he was going to be, like, some other person, like some shadow, like, monster that was, like, here to, I guess, teach Eli about his powers or something else. So I guess having him be, like, a regular guard, I guess that's here, but it wasn't really anything super exciting for me. I wanted so much more. You guys basically said most of it, so I guess
Yes.
the coward part is all I can really talk about. That, and I guess, like, Michael's death. I think that as Michael is a throwaway character, he probably will not be brought up again. So, does that disqualify him from characters in general? Probably, but
Oh, well, we already talked about
yeah,
Michael last chapter. He didn't really make it
right.
The door was
So-
more important than him.
Yeah. So, also, as somebody who's supposed to be our key, like, but you let Michael die! Michael's so unimportant that it kind of makes me kind of be like, is it really that important, though?
Not to us.
Because Michael being the, like, most important one of the most important reasons as to why he doesn't want to Eli doesn't want to work with Leo is weird, because Michael was a throwaway chapter 1 mob dude. Almost. But,
Yeah. Also, because we didn't really see whatever strong history they supposedly had. We don't have that.
yeah,
Eli
if
has
we
that in the
had-
past that we haven't seen, but you know,
Right.
we reading that, we don't give a crap.
I don't even think we're gonna get that, like, past. Like, I
We're
don't
not.
think they're gonna show it to us.
Or not.
If we would have gotten, like, a page or like with just, like, a bunch of their memories, that would have hit so much harder than just talking about it.
Mhm.
Am I allowed to talk about Mark Crilly for just a second?
Go ahead.
There was this video that Necrosama showed me with Mark Crilly, and it was like show, don't tell. And I feel like this chapter could really, really benefit from some showing and not telling. Because it just, with all the info and everything being answered, it kind of gets muddled. And then you don't even feel like you have any questions. Reading to the last page of this chapter felt like we stopped mid-chapter, and not a good way, like in a, that's it? Where's the rest of it? But not like in a way that makes you want to seek out the rest. And that's all I really wanted to say.
Also, that's just writing in general. Show don't tell.
Oh, well, of course, but I felt like this chapter specifically really, really needed that.
No, I mean, like, that's not some revelation Crilly himself just came up
Oh,
with.
no, I know, but that's just where, like, he had a video on it that was really good at explaining it.
See, I told you we were gonna have fun. We're gonna have so much fun that we're weighing down the plane because it's time to descend. We're turning that light on, buckle up. Gonna weigh you down with all this fun. We're descending.
All right, passengers, candy eaters, pinata poppers. We're going to our section about, overall thoughts so far of the series and the chapter. And of course, our usual question. Shall we continue?
I pretty much said my overall thoughts, so I'm just going to say that because my original instinct was like, if we talk about the tower and I like what I hear about the tower, I'll move on. I'd move on. I didn't really enjoy it, so I'm gonna put my foot down and say nope, I'm not moving on.
I'm gonna say yes, and I would give it one more chance because there's clearly a story here. It's just that it's like they'll go like in chapter 1, like they went a really long time without really diving into anything, and then toward the end, that's when they start like, it's like we're being hit with they're just over explaining a lot of stuff, and I feel like it should be like layered just a little bit more, like spaced out. It feels like they're just throwing a lot of stuff at us.
Although a certain Stormrave hijacked my moniker earlier in this video, it's time for the serious opinion. No and no.
Oh,
Why and why?
Because overall is no, because of the aforementioned questionable tactics that were employed, the ending that confused the crap out of me with how it stopped, and the beginning for honestly not really needing to be there, because
Said that.
we could have gotten the information about the shadow guard that betrayed the squad number 8. We could have gotten that later. We didn't need that now,
Said that.
but we got it anyway. So no for why the overall is a no. No for why I don't want to continue, because of my thoughts on the overall. There's nothing left to wonder. We know that his shadowness is not unique. We know he used to be part of a squad that guards towers. We know what the towers are for. We know that Leo's also a thingy thing. We know that Leo recognizes that Mikhail was not worth keeping around, so he let him die. We got all of that now. So what else is there? Anyone who's ever read any kind of manga of this particular genre and age demographic already knows Eli putting on this show, he's just going to go back and help eventually anyway. So there's really nothing there. It's just, there's nothing left for me. I don't have a reason to go on.
Okay. That's two. All right. For me, my overall, I guess, I like the way how they draw the shadow powers. So this is one thing I wanted to say. And there's a few like pages and panels I feel were done really well. Like, when the fight started, like my favorite panel in the entire 2 chapters we read was Leo standing there with his axe out, the shadow creeping up his arm like he's curse mark Sasuke or something. Overall, yeah, Leo's definitely best character. He just seems cool. But like I said, flashback, I feel like it was too early. Questions were asked or too early, and the remaining questions weren't intriguing enough. Like the only remaining question I think I remember I have is who was the guy in the hood, but he wasn't given enough spotlight. It was just knockout, and that's it. It's like they didn't emphasize that person at all in any way. Like that moment was not emphasized at all. For me, I think that moment should have been emphasized, since that, in my opinion, was at least the second most important part of the chapter. The most important, only thing close is like either that or Leo's reveal of him also being a Shadow Guardian. One of those. That's what the whole chapter should have just been. Either Leo or that antagonistic moment. If you wanted to go with the flashback, focus on the flashback and that antagonist. You can do it while keeping him or her mysterious. Or go to the whole other spectrum with Leo and revealing that Leo is a Shadow Guardian, just like Ellie. As for me, not really. I don't think I would continue reading it. I feel like on my own, I would come back to this, maybe see where it goes. Because I like the idea of the shadow powers. That alone would be a reason for me to continue reading it in the future. But at the moment, no, I don't really want to read it.
Overall, I think it was all right. Had a nice chapter 1, and chapter 2 it was going good, and then it kind of fell off for me. I just went over all that stuff a little earlier, so I'll just leave it at that. It just this chapter just fell flat on its face, for me anyway. And I'd give it one more chapter to see if it can get my attention, because it got my attention at the end of the first chapter, and then this one it just like took it all away. So I'd give it one more just to see if it can get my attention back again.
Attention passengers, this is your Captain Necrosama speaking. We've reached the end of this video. This has been Top Flight Reads Shadowborn Chapter 2 by DeAndre Moffett, Elias Shaman, and Osmer. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you want to see more videos like this, check out our channel. We have other series. If there's a series you would like us to read, drop a comment below. If there's anything you disagree with or agree with, again, drop a comment below. Yep, that's about it. I'll see y'all later. Say goodbye to the people, Top Flight.
All right, folks. Hope you all enjoyed your flight. We'll see you all on the next one. Until then, ta-ta.
I must apologize to you, dear flight attendants. I have tried and failed miserably to be a very serious storm rave. Oh well. See you folks next week. Thank you for joining us. Toodaloo.
I hope you all had a wonderful flight, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye! Oh, one last thing. Please leave the candy wrappers in the trash, and don't throw them all around the cabin. Thank you.
Oh, come on, MEL. You can't help it when the passengers are having so much fun. Gotta get crazy. Throw the candy wrappers all over the place as they get hyped up on sugar. And you know what else? Take that hype up sugar energy, get your stuff out the overhead bins, and get off the plane because we're already pulled into the airport. Go have fun somewhere else. We'll see you next week.